At 33 hours into this fast, the mental fog is clearing. Focus is sharper. Ideas start to connect more easily, and there's a reason for that. Tonight, we're going to go beyond ketones and blood sugar charts. We're talking about how fasting fuels the brain. We're tapping into the domain of intellectual health and showing how the choices you make every day during the fast, what you read, what you watch, what you think about can either amplify or sabotage your progress. This is where fasting gets powerful, not just physically, but mentally. This is where you begin to think sharper and faster, and you begin to feel stronger. Welcome back, everybody. We're here at 33 hours into this week's fast, and I am excited to connect the dots between the fast you've been living through right now and in the past and in the future, and the incredible power of your intellectual health. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We are living limitless lives. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to improve their metabolic health, and those people who have diseases along the metabolic spectrum. That's right. That's what we're talking about. And Limitless Living says that we are not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do, anything from outside or anything from inside. We're presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. If you are new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am happy that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and drop those in the chat, in the comments, and make sure you put a Q in front of it because I'd love to get to those and answer them as we move throughout our space and our episode tonight. We're talking about feeding your mind and how that can actually support your fast and your healing. Let's dive in. Before we do that, we've got some community members that I see out there. If you've been with us, you know how we do. If you're not, you'll get to learn. I've got my monitors that are off to my side that we'll take a look at to see what my blood sugars have been doing over the course of the last little while. And also, I've got my report that you'll see coming up here in just a little while, so that you can see what's been going on with my blood sugars over the course of the last several days, because we ended our fast about 3-4 now almost a week ago, about 5 days ago, but we'll get to see what those numbers are, and you'll get to see what has been going on as I move into that discussion. So and you'll get to see what my blood sugars have. This is real time stuff that we're looking at here, everybody. Right? This is the stuff that goes on every single day as I'm moving through the space. So we're gonna make sure that you get a good glimpse of that. And so here we are. Let's see. Let's do this one. Yeah. Let's go ahead and put this up. Yeah. So there you are. So there is I've got my monitors off to the side. I've got my Contour and my Keto Mojo, and then you'll see my report. That's my Dexcom Clarity report that you see right below me that we'll take a look at here in just a little bit. As a matter of fact, why don't we go ahead and let's do that right now? Okay, let's do that right now. And so here is my, you see all those. Yeah, we'll come back to those in a minute. Boom. Okay, come on, guys. Yeah, here it is. This is my Freestyle Libre, and my Freestyle Libre says that my blood sugar for most of today, and you'll see right around here-ish, right? You see the white part, the squiggly graph, and then followed by that red part. So the white part is straddling right above 100 in terms of blood sugar, and then starting maybe about 330 or there, it dropped below 70. And that's why it became red, and then it's been kind of hanging out there for most of the evening up until now. And so I am 33 hours into this week's fast. If I go over and look at my Dexcom, and you see the Dexcom says that right now I'm 95. Let me go ahead and this one, what I like is I can put my finger on it, and you'll see that it will give us actually what the numbers have been over the course of today. So let's scroll through. And you see I've been kind of hanging in the, let's see, what was the lowest I saw there so far? I think I saw 86. Let's go right. I thought I saw an 86. Maybe it was a 90. Oh, there it is. So 86. And then the highest I've seen so far is a 102, 104. So we've been hanging in the mid to upper 80s all the way up to 104. Actually, I saw a 71 right there. Yeah, that was about 5 o'clock this afternoon. And then 70s and 80s, 70s and 80s, 70s and 80s. Like it just spiked up right there to 104, and that was right before we got ready to come on here. I was out in my sunroom. I was doing one of the videos for our new series, and yeah, so there it is. Okay, so that's my Dexcom, and you can see if I go back 24 hours, see I've been hanging out in the 70s most of the day, dropping down. Now these numbers that are way down here, I actually don't believe that was the case. I shouldn't say I don't believe. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, because you know sometimes when you're sleeping you roll over and it may lose connection or it doesn't give an accurate. So those numbers, if I get those, and I didn't wake up for that, by the way. I mean I didn't hear that, first of all. Maybe I was snoring too loudly. But here in the 60s, and then this spike that you see here that goes from, what's that, 70s up to the 90s, right? That's probably a toothpaste effect. And then right in here, I had to change my sensor because it went off, and I didn't listen to it. I was in the office seeing patients, and so I waited. That was what, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't change it until 11. So that's why you see this gap right there. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at my monitor. So I've got my Contour, got my Keto Mojo, and let's grab this. And so we're gonna get a blue strip, and this gives me the ketones. And I'm gonna get one of the brown strips, gives me blood sugar, and then of course one of our handy dandy lancets. Go ahead and put that there. All right. Oh, I need a lancet for the Contour, so we'll get one of those out. And I do this because I want you to see, I want you to understand that we can have different numbers from different meters. Sometimes that causes some confusion for some people because they're like, well, why is it different? Why can't it be the same? And it is, as they say, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and these can be 20% different from each other, by the way. Right? So if you get 100 on one, you can get anywhere from 80 to a 120 on the other. And I'm going to go ahead and open up this. What do you think my ketones are going to be? Like I said, I've been fasting for a little over 33 hours now. Let's go ahead and see. Let's make sure we get a good drop of blood. And ow. I think that is getting me a drop. Okay. Hopefully. Maybe not as much as I thought. Okay, guys, I may have to do that stick again, but I'm going to try to get at least one of these started. Let's see. Okay, so that one worked. Let's see if I can milk. Okay, maybe. Come on, finger. Be nice to me. All right, so 67 is what that one says. And let's go ahead and see if we get one more drop before this starts to coagulate. So 65, 67, and then on the screen, you'll see that my Dexcom says 94. So now let's go ahead and grab a ketone strip, get that in, and get that started. All right, there we are. Okay, and so we'll just go ahead and we'll look at this together as that comes up. Like I said, a little over 33 hours of fasting. Boom, and okay, 1.0. Oh, you didn't see that, did you? Yeah, 1.0 is what it says. And let's go ahead and grab our. Let's go back here, and I'm gonna pull up my Keto Mojo app. Go ahead and get that synced so we can get that in. I get those over here. All right. So 1.0, 0.5, less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then of course higher than 0.5 is considered a therapeutic ketosis, and there we are, 1.0. Let me do this one. So 1.0 on my Keto Mojo, and let's do a different view. There we go. So 1.0 on the Keto Mojo for the ketone, 67 for blood sugar. And if you remember when I broke my fast, actually when I did my show on Monday, which I had not been fasting since Friday, my ketones were 0.5. And that was because I had been doing a good job of the things I was eating. And you see my blood sugars have been in the 70s to 80s, maybe up low 100s. So the things I've been eating, because I've been, like I said, working on our new series, and so kind of doing some of the things that I'm talking about in the series and seeing, because I'm going to show you what that looks like on the monitor. I want you to see what's going on in my body as we are walking through that. Good place, by the way, to give a plug. If you've not been with us on our 100-day walk to consistency, man, you want to make sure that you get there. All of those videos, 100 videos, right? We've been walking since January. 100 videos are there. And as we moved from that series into the new series that's starting up next week, right, we did a mini series called The Bridge to Mastery. So we've learned several things over the course of the 100 days, and then there's a bridge that we want to solidify some of those things that we're learning, one huge concept, right, that's going to be the concept that pushes us into the next series and keeps us going. You want to make sure that you get there and watch that, and then join us as we talk about strength, strategy, and mastery, and mindset. Strength, strategy, and mindset as we move into the new series. So good plug for there. This coming week, we'll be introducing some things here on the show. Well, not next week, but the week after, introducing some things on the show that are totally in line with what we're doing here on the in our Move series, right? That's what we're calling it, the Move series. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members, because I do see you out there, and just want to welcome you to the area. I see Gion, and Gion is saying, let's do that one, do this one. So hi, Doctor, and hi, Limitless Living Gang, LLG. Hi, Gion, how are you? She said, I will come back. Okay, so she has a class, I think, at this time, so she's going to hop over there and then come back to join us. Pamela saying, hello, Doctor. Jennifer, what's up, Jennifer? She says, howdy, all. Pam says, hello, Jennifer. Bowie says, hi. Hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming through. And Pam saying hi to Bowie. And Jennifer, of course, saying hi to everybody. Well, good. Well, hello. And whatever platform you're joining us from, LinkedIn, Twitch, TikTok, not TikTok, but Instagram, of course, Facebook, and then here on YouTube. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us as we move through this amazing space that we find ourselves in. All right. So one of the other things that I want to do is I want to take a look at one of the other parameters that a lot of people are interested in. But as I do that, let's give some comments. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we here? Why are we in this space? So you heard me say at the top of the show that we are talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who want to get off of medication, who want to improve their metabolic health. That is the base premise. That is the basis of what we do. Pause. Don't leave yet. If you're not diabetic, don't leave, right? Because what I hear from a lot of people is I'm not diabetic. So the things that you talk about, the things that are there for diabetes, I don't have to listen to. Now, here's the thing. Here's the crux of this idea, though. Diabetes is an extreme form of diseases along what we call the metabolic spectrum. Right? You know what the spectrum is? That is that there are things along that spectrum, along that pathway, that ultimately lead to diabetes or are associated with diabetes or have similar features to diabetes. And so if we can, and those things are things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, obesity, being overweight, pre-diabetes, and we can go on and on and on. All of those, coronary artery disease, being predisposed to heart attack and stroke and peripheral artery disease, a microvascular disease of the brain, and what they're now terming type 3 diabetes, right? So that's what we're calling it. Not officially named yet, but that's what it is. And that is dementia. So all of those are along the metabolic spectrum. So if we can do anything that first reverses diabetes, improves diabetes, or fixes, delays, short circuits any of the diseases along that spectrum, guess what? We are fixing those things. We are improving those things. And so you're on blood pressure medicine that you can get off. You're on cholesterol medicine that you can get off. You've got fatty liver that they've told you, hey, we don't know what we're going to do. Guess what? Follow the path. You want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can to prevent the onset of dementia. Guess what? Limitless living. So along that spectrum, all the diseases along the spectrum get better when you follow the path. So the things that we do for diabetes can be extrapolated to all of those. So why are we here? We are learning, first of all, on our main show, we're walking through the limitless living path that gives you those things that you want to begin implementing in your life, in your day, in your health plan that are walking you down the pathway of being metabolically healthy. And then here in this space, we are learning, we are refining, we are trying to get all of those disease processes in a space where we can get improvement. So we're learning that on these, when we do these check-ins. And so I am now 33 hours into this week's fast. Now, I want to show you something, and this is one of the side effects of the path that we're on. And so a lot of people ask me about weight, right? So can I lose weight with fasting? Can I lose weight with the limitless living pathway? Can I, right? And so here's one that everybody wants to know, the one that people track. And here's my weight. And you'll see that 185 pounds. So a year ago, I think I hit 188 on the show. We kind of looked at that. And here I am, 185 pounds. That was March 3rd of last year. 185 pounds. And the one thing that I tell people is, one of the things that I do is I actually play a little game with myself. So this is called the Fit Index app, and it goes with a scale, the Fit Index scale. And we have done a show where we talked about this. So you can go on the channel and you can watch that. But this scale tracks several components of my body, several metabolic components. And so what I do is when I first started, right, like my weight, and let's go ahead and look at that really quickly. So if I go back to my weight and go back, look at the year view, right? So I want you to see this. So back here, and in this one, the highest I think we tracked in this was 260 pounds. So 260 pounds. Right. My highest weight ever was about 287 pounds. Right. So 260 is what you see on the screen. 287 was the highest. And so here we are. So 287, and fast forward now 185. So a little bit over 100 pounds. All right. So a little bit over 100 pounds is what we're down over the course of, and this is, let's see, when was that 260? 260 was 2022, and so I would say probably back in 2018, 2019, even earlier. So we were at that weight. And so you see, as we've been traveling, as we've been moving, right? So we've got some ups and downs. So here we hit 240, and then we went down, 189. I think the lowest I had gotten down to is a 179, right? And then it came back up. So the reason I'm showing you this is because I want you to see that even though the general trend was down, it was, right, like this. So sometimes we want it to just be continually down, but if you are doing the things that you need to do, you will find that it happens over time. And you may have sometimes where you rebound, like right here, went from 179. I think the highest I got up to was 204, right? So 204 right there, and then back down now to 185. But what I was starting to show you is the things that I do. When I started, all these numbers that you saw on the screen, or you see on the screen, they were in the red. And I'm going to put this here. So red for any of these numbers means that that's not a good spot that we want you to be in, right? So for example, your BMI in the red would be over 25. If I look at something like, let's see, what did I click on? So what's this one? So this is, okay, body water, right? Body water, skeletal muscle. So I'm trying to look down and see this at the same time. Muscle mass, right? So we're trying to keep this out of the red. We're trying to keep this in the green. Trying to keep this in. Right now, we got a couple of things that are in amber. For instance, my BMI, right? Got a little ways to go there. Weight to be. This is the ideal body weight, by the way, right? Little ways to go there. And subcutaneous fat. That one I'm working on right now actively, and our new series will address some of that. Okay. So anyway, so these are simply side effects. So when you see improved blood sugar, when you see improved weight, when you see improved cholesterol, when you see improved blood pressure, all of those are simply side effects of what we're doing, because we are becoming healthy. And when you're becoming healthy, you reap the benefits of becoming healthy. So often we focus on a particular thing, and that's good because it gives some motivation. But I want you to know, if you're following the path, if you're walking along the spectrum, you will find side effects all down the course of where we are. Okay? All right. So let's go ahead and let's hop into our discussion for this evening. And what we're talking about is the effect, or the interplay, I guess, let me say it that way. We're talking about the interplay between fasting and our brain, fasting and our mind. Let's go there right now. All right, so we're talking about thinking sharper, fasting stronger, right? So we're unlocking our inner focus at 33 hours. And so if you've been following us, you know that the body goes through transitions as we move from different spaces. And one of the reasons that we fast is because fasting is tremendous in hitting the pillars for diabetes, for reversing diabetes. That is decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and then of course reducing sugar. So fasting hits all of those. And one of the most powerful parts of fasting is the idea that at some point your body switches from burning carbs, from burning the sugar, and it goes into a ketotic state, right? So ketosis, and it begins burning fat. That's where we get the weight loss. That's where we get the insulin sensitivity that improves. That's where we're able to begin minimizing the amount of medications that we're on, because our body, not only is it burning the fat, so weight's going down, it's using the fat as energy, but that energy that it's using is a clean source of energy. And that source of energy has consequences down the road that are beneficial to us. And so we've been walking through the domains of health, and we did our the final domain, which was our intellectual health, on our past during this past Dwain Woode MD Live. And you'll recall when we talk about the domains of health, right? We're talking about that intellectual health. And so we talked about what intellectual health is. We're not talking about how smart you are. We're not talking about you being a genius. What we're talking about is, have you been doing the things, and are you putting yourself in a place where you can learn, absorb, understand how your body works? Because if you're going to make choices about what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, how to exercise, what you do in your body, you want to make sure that you understand it. And that all has to do with your intellectual health. So one of the questions that we can ask is, as we're moving through the metabolic space, as we're improving, as we're burning calories, as we're burning sugar, and we move from burning sugar to burning fat, and we get those ketones, what happens to the ketones? What happens to the brain? And so we know, we've talked before, that beta hydroxybutyrate is the hormone or the ketone that the brain likes. It likes to absorb that. So why does the body crave challenges during fasting? Because those challenges, one of the concepts that you'll learn is that controlled tension causes growth. Controlled tension causes growth. Whether we're talking about bodybuilding, where we're talking about growth in other areas of your life, you grow when you have to grow when there's some tension. If everything is nice and rosy, then we don't stretch ourselves. So during fasting, why does the brain want that? Why does it need it? Well, at 33 hours into the fast, the body is already shifting gears, right? So we said 24 to 36 hours is when glycogen is going away and the body is now burning calories. You're literally running on ketones. Your insulin is low and the inflammation in your body is dropping. The body's becoming more adept at processing, is becoming more insulin sensitive, and it is using the food that you've eaten more successfully. But guess what? Your brain isn't just surviving, right? It's primed at this point for clarity. This is the sweet spot for intellectual health. Ketones are neuroprotective. That means they protect the brain. This is why you'll hear me say, right, or you've heard me say, that things like Alzheimer's disease, multiple sclerosis, neuropathy, right, those are neurodegenerative or neuronal diseases. So ketones are beneficial. They've actually started even using fasting because of the ketones for people who have seizures. Some cancers respond better to treatment when you're fasting. So ketones are neuroprotective. They enhance focus. They sharpen cognition. They improve memory. And that's not just metabolic trivia. It means this moment, this time right here, this fasted state is ideal for creative thinking. It's ideal for critical reflection. It's ideal for problem solving. Right? Imagine that. Right? Say, hey, what you doing today? Well, I got a problem at work, or I got a problem at the house. I got this situation. So what are you gonna do about it? Well, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna fast. Because when I fast, I'm supercharging my brain. Right? If you've ever had a flash of insight during fasting, that's not an accident. That's biology meeting opportunity. That's your brain, your body saying, yes, 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 this is what we want right now. So it's not an accident. I think I said on our show on Monday, as I was talking about the intellect, that when I'm fasting, and sometimes it's hard to explain, but when I'm fasting, the connections that I'm making during the fast are incredible. Sometimes I don't even have time to write down all the thoughts that are coming through my mind. So what I want you to do is I want to challenge you to start seeing your fast as more than just Hunger Games. It's an intellectual training ground. If you're having trouble understanding something, if you're having trouble conceptualizing, if you're having trouble coming up with a plan, whatever it is, put it in a fast. Say, hey, you know what? What am I going to do? How am I going to try to solve this problem? I'm going to fast. Intellectual health supports fasting success. So let's go ahead and let's break that down. So curiosity fuels experimentation. You learn to adjust your fasting windows. You try new routines. You challenge your assumptions. All of that can happen in fasting. And as you're trying to find the best thing for you, trying to find the best fast, trying to find the best schedule, all of that, if you're doing that during the fast, leading up to the fast, this is incredible because you're now building new routines. So intellectual health supports fasting success. So when you are healthy intellectually, you are able to process. You're able to do this. All the things that we talked about on our show on Monday, right? Dwain Woode MD Live. So critical thinking helps you decipher hunger signals. Now you understand what's going on in your body. Remember, intellectual health means understanding certain things, understanding what's going on in your body. Am I truly hungry or am I bored? If you can make that distinction, if you understand what's going on, if you understand the signals that are coming from your body, then you're able to make that leap and say, okay, no, that can't be hunger. And when I understand it, when you understand that, then you're able to make different choices. Mental stimulation protects you from buffering behavior. Come on now. Remember, buffering behaviors, those are those behaviors that we do that we try to insulate ourselves from a feeling. We try to not feel the thing. We try to ignore it. We try to procrastinate from it. We try to bury it, and all the behaviors that we do, the food that we eat, staying up late, scrolling, all the things that we do, all the buffering behaviors happen when we're not clear. That's why when you're tired, you make decisions that you would not normally make. Why? Because there is clouding of your mentation. And just like that, if we are not doing what we need to do intellectually, if we're not stimulating, then we make decisions about buffering that we would not normally make. When your brain is engaged, you're less likely to wander into the pantry. You're less likely to stop at that store. You're less likely to, grab those Cadbury's. I know. I have to throw that in there. When we talk about fasting, and we do our fasting review on Fridays, one of the things you hear me say all the time is get some things ready, some things that's going to distract you during the fasting. Why? Because you're occupying the mind. And so here's the truth. Many people don't succeed at fasting, not because their body is tired, but because their mind is bored. You want to hear something that happened to me? Once again, I'm here and I'm getting ready for the show, and I was actually outside I was taping one of our episodes for the series. And just before I went out, I was kind of not sure whether I wanted to do it today. I had already exercised. I'd already gone through my routine. And so now I'm going back because I couldn't do it earlier. I'm going back and doing that. And I'm sitting there. It's like, okay, do I want to do this? I'm going back and forth in my head. And what does my brain say? Hey, let's go grab something that's going to calm you down. And I had to say, no. Right? And so I became engaged in what I was doing. And guess what? Guess what happened to that craving or that thing, right? That thought. Boom. Went away. So a lot of times it's not that we are not wanting to do it, but because we're bored, we're not occupied, then it's easy to go and do something. This is why we emphasize building not just our muscle, right? And you hear that, but building your mental muscle. So one of the things you want to ask yourself is, what new thing can I learn? Can I explore? What creative thing can I do during a fast? If you've got some projects, and I heard someone say recently, I was listening to a friend of mine, also a mentor, and he was talking about a list of things that he had I think it's called will do or want to do or something like that. You know when to hit that want to do list or will do list? During a fast. Because the mental clarity that's there is unbelievable. Where your mind goes, your body will follow. When your brain is active, your fast becomes easier. Because the brain is bringing the body along with it. And often the thing that's causing your problem is not the body. It is the brain. It is the mind. So what are some real-time tools that we can use? How do we integrate intellectual health into the fast? Right? So get a piece of paper, grab your journal, like I said, a piece of paper. You should have a journal. So here are some practical strategies you can use. You can try right now, right, while you're fasting. Pick a curiosity project. You heard me. A book, a documentary, a podcast. Just 15 minutes of learning per day can sharpen your mind and make the fast go faster. Seems to go faster. Right? Something to occupy your mind. Now, what I want you to do, and we've been doing fast, right, on a weekly basis. So find a project, find something you're going to do, and when you fast, every time you fast, you're picking up another piece of this. So if it's a book, right, something that you're learning, some documentary, some podcast, something that you're doing, you like to draw, you like to write, you like to speak, whatever it is, when you fast, that's going to be your thing. It's a curiosity project. You're trying to learn. You're trying to expand your mind. Number 2, create something. Write a reflection. Write a book. Brainstorm your next steps in terms of health. What are you going to do? We've walked 109 days, with including the Bridge to Mastery miniseries that we did, right? The concepts that are in that series are amazing. Find one of them. And we've broken the talks up into weeks, right? So every week there's a playlist out there. So find one of those playlists and say, okay, this week I'm working on my mindset. This week I'm working on my organization. This week I'm working on, and go through that playlist. Creation is metabolism friendly. It boosts dopamine. It supports your mood. It gives you that fast, deeper meaning. Some of you are artists. You draw, you write, you paint. You're musicians. You want to jumpstart a song? Get some melody, get some lyrics, do it in a fast. Ask questions, right? We talked about not just assuming, and I told you I'm working on my thought processes. How do I comment, or sorry, how do I think? Right? I'm thinking about thinking. Am I doing a good job of thinking? Don't just white knuckle your way through the hunger. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? What's the fasting teaching me about myself? Wow. Imagine the depth that you get to go through during that process. Learning about yourself, right? We always want to learn about stuff out there. What about in here? All that we just talked about, that's the intellectual domain in action. Remember, fasting is not about waiting for time to pass. Because if that's what you're doing, then time is going to take a long time. It's kind of like what they say, the watch pot never boils. Sometimes we treat fasting as this drudgery. Right? Like this thing, oh man, I got to do this. Oh, I'm going fast again. Right? So we go through that process. No. Fasting is a tool that we're using. We get to do fasting. Man, I'm excited because, why are you excited? Because I'm going to start fasting tomorrow. What? So we're not waiting for the time to pass. It's about becoming more present. And the benefits that happen in fasting are incredible. So when hunger is mental, let's talk about that. When it's mental, and usually it's not physical hunger, it is a mental thing. You want to watch your thought loop. At 33 hours, the brain can play tricks. And this is what it did. Just one bite. It won't matter. You've been fasting for 33 hours. You've already done a great job. Why not stop now? You're getting the benefits. The blood sugar is better. The A1C is down, the weight's going down. This one bite is not going to make a difference. You can always restart tomorrow. Right? That's what's going on. So that voice is not truth. It's a pattern. It's what we've become used to. And your intellectual health gives you the strength to pause, clarify, pause, analyze what's going on, and respond instead of reacting. This is where all the work we've done, understanding dopamine, building the cope model, questioning your triggers, the heat model, this is where all of this comes into play. Because as you're hearing those voices, understanding the intellectual part, because you've done the work, you're not just fasting for a checkbox. You're fasting to rewrite the patterns. That's what's going on. That's what we're working on. That's the benefit of all that we're doing in this space. Okay? So I want you to make sure that that is where you find yourself, that you are working on making sure that you're not just doing this and you're like, okay, well, I've checked that box off. Something happened there. Okay. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Yeah. I've checked that box off, so I'm good. No, that's not the case. Right? So you want to make sure that you are not just doing that because, hey, right? And as you hear me say often, fasting is more, much more than just not eating. There is a emotional component. There's a social component. There's a psychological component. Give me just a second here. I need to. There we go. All right. So there are all these components that you want to make sure that you are addressing. You're not fasting just to check the checkbox. You are fasting to rewrite the patterns that have been created in your mind, in your brain. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's do that together. All right, I'm having our computers, something's going on in the area, and I think it's messing up a few things here, but that's okay. All right. So pick a curiosity project, work on something, create something, ask questions, and understand that this is not just by chance, because we're taking charge now of all of our behaviors and our actions. So emotional, I shouldn't say emotional, but self-efficacy is the belief and is the evidence-based belief that my decisions and my behavior can ultimately, and my consistency, by the way, can ultimately chart the course for my life and for my success. Whether it's metabolism, whether it's weight, it's blood sugar, whatever it is, self-efficacy says that I believe in my ability to chart the course. That's what limitless living says. That it is our responsibility. I have the ability. I have unlimited potential to make those choices. So you're fasting to reclaim your power over your body and your brain. We did a show several weeks ago. It's called How to Trust. Learn to trust your body again. Many of us don't trust it because we've had all these issues. We've had heart attacks and strokes, and we can't move certain things because of different disease. You're reclaiming the power over your body. You're reclaiming the power of your brain. I'm not going to just let my brain tell me to do something. I've got to understand what's going on so that I can make an intelligent decision. So tonight, we want to use this space to get curious, not judgmental. Investigate what comes up and let that be the fuel for your next breakthrough. In fasting. This is what fasting does. You're not just fasting, you are growing. Fasting isn't about shutting down. It's about turning on. When you're 33 hours into a fast, your body is aligned, right? Let your mind become aligned as well. Feed it with new thoughts. Challenge it with new perspectives. Trust that your hunger is temporary, but your growth that you're having is permanent. Oh, man, you got to join our new series. You make sure that you are there. If you take nothing else from tonight, I want you to remember this, that your mind is the most powerful metabolic organ. You thought it was your pancreas. You thought it was your liver. You thought it was your bone. No, your mind is the most powerful metabolic organ. Treat it like it matters. Fuel it. Stretch it. And you will see that it doesn't just support the fast. It transforms your future. Amazing things happen when we fast. We improve our metabolism. We improve our insulin sensitivity. We lose weight. We can begin reversing blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver. We can also supercharge our brain, our mind, and supercharge those things around us simply because we are fasting, and the fasting supercharges our intellect. This is the power when fasting combines with your intellect. Feed your brain, feed your mind, feed your fast, and stimulate your brain and help it to grow. And that's our conversation right now. All right. I love. Do you know that the brain is incredible in its ability to direct us in so many different areas that we don't give it enough credit. If we can strengthen the mind, strengthen the brain, understand, if we can change our beliefs, remember we talked about the mind, the mental aspect of our health. That the brain, the mind, is what drives us. It is the thing that directs us. It is the lens through which we see the world. And so it is incredible in its ability to help us to succeed. So let's go ahead and hop over and say hi to some of our community members. Let's see. I see some folks hop in there, and let's see what you guys are talking about. Let's see. Go back up. Okay. Well, let me see. Let me go back up because you guys are having a good conversation in there. So Jennifer says, "Howdy, Steve. Jennifer, I've planted some green beans and tomatoes in my garden this week." Pamela said, "Proud of you. I'm gonna be like you when I grow up." Hope you're trying to be like you as I. Nope, I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. Okay. Jennifer's responding to Steve says, awesome. I have a few tomatoes out, radishes, onions, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. Wow, Jennifer, that's a lot of stuff. Last year was the first year for Brussels sprouts. I didn't know I liked them. What type of tomatoes? Cherokee, purple. And so we're talking about all the stuff that's in Jennifer's garden there. Steve says he likes Brussels sprouts in the stir fry. My grandson loves the salad tomatoes. I still have some different varieties. And so the purple ones are slow growers. Okay, so we're just going to help Jennifer with her garden. Nothing beats a garden raised tomato. So that all goes back to balanced bites, right? So we want to do whole foods. Jennifer says she grew okra, cornmeal. Some of the folks use flour. Sounds good. Pamela tried gumbo. Talking about the okra. So neighbor fries from Mississippi. I took a bunch and picked them. Okay, so we're talking about what's going on there. And so, hey, yeah, Jennifer says she needs a recipe. I will find one for you. Smoking and grilling with Ab. Awesome. All right, so this is a great place to talk about balanced bites, right? So as you guys are talking about growing and talking about the things that we're eating, remember a part of our limitless living has to do with the things that we eat. So we're talking about walking, we're talking about fasting, we're talking about, well, balanced bites tells us what do we eat when we are not fasting. In those times when you're eating, in your eating window, what are the things that you're eating? And that all comes from our balanced bites. You remember, our balanced bite says that we're eating whole foods, we're minimizing processed foods, no added sugar, lean protein and healthy fats, starchy and non-starchy vegetables, tasty and flavorful, and we want to make sure that we have good portion control. Because often it's not that people are eating the wrong things, but they might be eating too much of the right thing. So that they're go to a restaurant or even at the house. I was talking to someone actually in the office today, and we were talking about this very fact that that when you eat, if you're not careful, right, you will eat so quickly that the brain never gets a signal or doesn't get a signal in time that you're full, and so you end up eating 2-3 times the things that you the amount that you should eat. So make sure that you're slowing down your chewing and all the things that we normally say. All right, so let's hop over and let's take a look at my blood sugars on my monitor. And so we'll take a look here. So this is my Dexcom Clarity report, and you'll see that my average blood sugar is 98. Let's do this one, yeah, 98 right there. And this is over the course of 14 days. My time in range, time in range is 94%, and that's a range of 70 to 180. My glucose management indicator, so it's a surrogate for my A1C. If I were to get an A1C, then it should approximate this number, right? So 5.7. I can't call it an A1C because it's a calculated number, but you'll see there 5.7 is what I would expect it to be. If I go back and look at this is 14 days, if I go back and look at 30 days, you'll see there 5.7 still with an average of 100. And if I go back 90 days, that should be like 6.2 or thereabouts, actually 6.4 with an average of 129. We usually tell our patients that we want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120. You'll recall several months ago, and this is now a three-month version, I got sick, and so my blood sugars were probably about 20, 30, 40 points higher than normal, and that's what's influencing this. But as we've gone, and let's see if I can go to 7 days, the last week or so, average of 89, right? It could not calculate a glucose management indicator because there's not enough data. But if I go to 14 days, then we get to see what we saw earlier, so 5.7 with an average of 98. If I go back and look at the daily graph, and so this allows me to look back. Let's take a look at over the last several days. So here's where I am. Here's where I was today. And here at 33 hours, and we kind of looked at part of this when we looked at my monitor, my Dexcom, and you see there that my blood sugars have been ranging, at least for the afternoon, and right here you see that gap because that's when I changed or put on a new sensor. And you see my blood sugars range from the upper 80s to the low 100s over the course of the afternoon. In the morning, right before I had to change, you'll see that several times we dipped below 100. I was telling someone today that when I work out, then my blood sugar will start dropping from the time I start working out. I'm trying to find that. From the time I start working out, it will continue to go down, down, down into the low, into some of these lower numbers, right, overnight. So yesterday I was in the 70s and 80s, right? So we were working out. Me and my son were working out right in here somewhere, and those numbers start going down, and so you see that culminated in those low blood sugars overnight. Some of those I actually don't believe that they were that low, but hey, there's the data. So 80s and 90s earlier, that was yesterday. So yesterday, I think the highest I got up to was like 108. And I started the fast yesterday right around here. So I was 76 yesterday when I started the fast. And then this was when we did our show on Monday. And those are the same numbers that we saw there, 80s, 90s. I think that day the highest I got was maybe a 102. And then going backwards, looking at numbers further back on Sunday, up to 120s, 130s. And so I broke the fast on Friday, and so Saturday, Sunday was eating, and so got up to 134 there. I think that was the highest on that day. When I broke the fast, when was that? Right in here somewhere. When I broke the fast, and we did salad, and we did what did I do? Salad and nuts, salad and mixed nuts. And the highest that we got over the course of the next several hours after that meal was here. We got up to about 111, and then overnight, right, we spiked up to about 117, and then kind of maintained much of that throughout most of the day. I do one meal a day, and then until right in the afternoon, we were 116 or thereabouts, and just kind of maintained that number. So over the course of the last several days, 3, 4, 5, 6 days maybe, blood sugars, I think the highest we got up was to 130. And one point that I want to make there is that what you're seeing, is a function of what I am doing to improve my metabolism, right? So we will talk to you about a new concept, well, not new concept, a concept that we have, Limitless Living Health Action Plan, the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. And it incorporates the things that we're going to say, hey, this is what you need to be doing if you want to get these kinds of numbers. If you want to get an improvement in your A1C, want to get improvement in your weight, want to get an improvement in your cholesterol and blood pressure, right? So let's walk through that path together, the Limitless Living Action Plan. So make sure that you come and you join us for that. When we talk about our intellect, remember that our intellect is what ultimately drives, right? Because that's here, that ultimately drives what we do. It drives how we see the world. It drives our interpretation of the things that happen. The interpretations lead to a feeling. The feeling leads to an emotion, or the emotion leads to a feeling. That drives our behavior. Our behavior drives our actions, and our actions ultimately leads to the benefit and or not benefit that we get. So everything hinges on making sure that intellectually we are where we need to be. And so our Triple E formula for success addresses that. We educate. We make sure that you're understanding how your body works. We're looking at it from different ways. We're looking at the mindset that we have as we walk through the path of consistency, 100-day walk to consistency. When we start our new series on strength, strategy, and mindset, all of that is helping to create a structure so that you can be successful. All you have to do is plug in and follow the path. So we educate. We go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. We grow from a posture of failure to self-efficacy. We go from a posture of, I can't do this, it never works out, to being resilient, to being flexible, to understand how we can position ourselves as best to be successful. And our intellect is very important. So we educate, we empower, and we empower with the tools, right? So the walking that we're doing in the morning, the balanced bites that we're doing, the fasting that we're doing, all of those are tools. In our community, there are tools that we are posting there so that you can begin processing and applying the things that we're learning. Because this is all theory until you infuse it with your action. It's in a video. It's in your journal. It's on the shelf. But until you infuse your action into it, all it is theory. It comes to life. You give it power when you begin acting on it. So the power comes with the tools that we're learning. And then we encourage with the community that you are part of, the people who are around that will help to pull you, push you, support you, help you moving up. All of that happens. One of the concepts that I was teaching my son as we are beginning to work on toning our body, right, and becoming more healthy, is this idea that for our muscles, when you're lifting, right, when a muscle becomes fatigued, it recruits other muscles. Come on. I want you to get that, right? When that muscle becomes fatigued, it goes and it recruits other muscles in the area to help. The muscles do that. And we do that as well. We can do that as well. And that happens in community. I am so excited that you are here. Always glad that I'm in this space to hang out with you. And always understanding that we are in this together, that we're working together, we're growing together, we improve together, and we can be successful together. We'll be back tomorrow as we do our check-in as we move further into our 72-hour check-in. We'll be back on Friday as we do our complete review. On Saturday night, we'll be here for Video from the Vault, and then on Sunday for This Week in Review. We'll be back right here, Dwain Woode MD Live, Monday at 7 p.m. Central as we continue our path down limitless living. Limitless living says, we're not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be successful. We're breaking free from the boundaries. We're breaking free from the obstacles. We're breaking free from those constraints. And we're presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans for our life. We'll see you at our next episode. Live limitlessly. Until then, good night, everybody.